coming to you live from Denton, Texas. And we got a good one in store for you guys tonight. This is the battle for I-35, and it's going to be Fort Worth taking on Lone Star. Joining me in the booth, as always, is Dan Mitchell. Dan, how's it going tonight, and what are some things that you're looking forward to in this game?
Thanks, Jeff, for having me. I'm real excited for the game out here today. Two new blood expansion teams, both 1 and 2, coming off losses. Fort Worth coming off a loss versus Arizona, and Lone Star Glory coming off a loss versus Houston. I think both teams are gearing up and ready for a big one. New bloods, they're fighting out. We may have a new Texas rivalry out here tonight. Not that far separated, and ready for a big old shootout.
As you take a look at the uniforms, Lone Star is actually wearing military alternate uniforms to commemorate the Purple Heart Day. So those are the ones that you're going to be watching as they look really good on television. And the Fort Worth Toros are going to be wearing their all white uniforms here for the away. They were looking to wear Panther Island uniforms, but those are only for home. So we are getting set, and we're going to get ready to get this one underway. But Dan, what are a couple keys that the fans watching at home should know about for these two teams, for one of them to get a victory here tonight?
I definitely think Toros just have to keep doing what they're doing. Their defense is some of the top in the league. Third passing defense and fifth rush defense. I think that can really hold them down. They keep, Lone Star scoring low, and Lone Star has to break through that wall.
One win in the last 3 games for both teams, and we are underway as the Toros will start with the football, and they bring it out to the 23-yard line, and we'll go through the starters for the Fort Worth Toros. Xander Gold is the quarterback. He was originally with New Orleans, and he thought he was going to retire, but he came back and is now the quarterback for Fort Worth. The halfback, Jason Williams. The fullback, Chris Komisek. The receiving corps, Cade Stevens, Stephen Hacker, Cameron Curtis. Robert Garrett Jr. is the tight end, and the guard is Bodacious Tuff. As Gold starts under center, halfback to Williams, looking to get going early. He's going to be wrestled down, not before he picks up a gain of 2. The defense for the Lone Star Glory. The defensive line is made up of Jukin Rukin, Yogi Barr, Al Lewis, Hugo Reynosa. The linebacking core, it's a good one. Brian Craven, Doug Day, Freddie Trammell. Then the secondary, Lee Pato, Mickey McGuire, Thomas Smith, Lincoln Kingseed rounded out. Second down and 8 here for Gold, who's under center. Full house in the backfield. Another handoff up the middle to Jason Williams. It's going to be a gain of 2 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 7 coming up.
Yeah, a little dive starting out straight down the middle, picking up just a yard or 2. They're 7 away, 3rd and 7. Not where you want to be on your first drive of the game, but let's see if they get a little heat under that ball and see if Xander Gold can throw a long one.
3rd down and 7. First 3rd down attempt coming up for the Toros. Gold with Prackett collapsing, throwing, almost intercepted, but it falls to the turf. And just like that, that's going to be 3 and out for the Toros, and they'll have to punt this football to Lone Star.
Yeah, even with the 3-2 defensive setup, they really put some great pressure on Xander Gold, breaking into that pocket, causing him just to throw a goose. And then he almost ended up in the wrong hands. But they got lucky, and now we'll probably see a punt away as we see the punting unit on there for Fort Worth.
Ray Enhorn will punt this one away to Lone Star. So early 3 and out for the Toros. The punt is away. It's a good one. Got the blockers out in front. Getting the return. It's getting up to the 45-yard line. And that is where we will see the quarterback for Lone Star, Ace Finnick, make his first drive here in the game. The rest of the starting unit, the halfback, Ike McBride. The fullback is Cameron Collier. Receiving core of Liam Hammer, Dave Axis. The tight end is Adam Williams. Center, Marty Maidenfoot, Fort. And then the tackles, Ryan Caudill and Bobo Caudill. And throwing it out here to the sidelines, Finnick with his first throw and first completion. And it's going to be 2nd down and inches as the pass was caught by Liam Hammer. The starters for the Fort Worth Turtles on the defensive side, Joey Schwint, Gary Marks, Catherine Horrell, and Mustafa Kamau make up the defensive line. Linebacking core, David Horrell, J.L. Browning, E.K. Vinson. The secondary of Aiden Davis, Nacho Sicario, Ben Stone, Jonathan Taylor Sconsing, and Delaney Nash. It's going to be 2nd down and inches. as Finnick will go under center, split back in the backfield. And going to be a handoff up the middle to McBride, who gets enough for the first down. Pick up a 2 on the play.
Yeah, you know, great early drive, just thought process putting it out. You know, they got a great early play right to the outside, picking up almost that first down, which would have just set them up again, but instead they were inches away, just throwing it down the middle, gut punch. It's just a nice, easy offense planned out.
The first down of the game goes to the Lone Star Glory. Finnick under center, dropping it over the middle of the field, and it's batted away, and it's going to be intercepted on the deflection. Big play. Nacho Sicario with the first interception of the game, and Fort Worth gets the football back.
Nacho Sicario picking up his second interception of this season. Great, just bat down going for it immediately. Number 41 bounces off the back of the receiver. Nacho having great awareness, showing up, just picking up the ball. Had to go down with it, but you know, that's the best decision when you got nothing else going on, that you picked up the receiver's ball. And now we see Fort Worth back on the field.
Wow, what a turn of events there. As it looked like Lone Star was going in to get some points, but Adam Williams just couldn't turn around to get up the football, but instead Nacho Sicario comes down with the interception, and down goes Xander Gold. And just like that, the first sack of the ball game credited to Lone Star.
Yeah, number 92 coming out, Al Lewis. You just trucking and charging through the center of the pocket. You know, so far we got a defensive battle, Jeff. Just interception into sack. Love it.
41.5 is the over-under in the game. Lone Star, or actually Fort Worth, is the favorite by 6.5. And the handout to J.C. Williams goes up the middle, and he is going to be met there by Doug Day.
Yeah,
Brian
you tried
Craven.
to make up some of that yardage, but when you're already back about 7 yards behind what you started, it's not where you want to be. Now 3rd and 14, not impossible, but might as well be. Let's see if Gold can get some thunder in that arm.
And Gold will go under center on this 3rd and 14 play. 3 receivers out in the formation and the tight end. As Gold is going to be wrestled down again. Al Lewis, 2 tackles, 2 sacks, and another punt upcoming for Fort Worth. They just cannot get this offense going here in Lone Star.
Well, my man, Al Lewis had 3.5 total sacks coming into this game. He's now at 5.5. And he's about to double it if he gets another one. He's just popping off early on this defensive game.
Must have saw something they liked in scouting, as the fair catch is going to be called. And great field position. Lone Star will get the football back. But we've seen a couple drives here, Dan, and one by Lone Star, 2 by Fort Worth. What are some things that you're picking up on real quick, like some tendencies for both teams?
Well, I haven't seen much, really. You know, so Fort Worth, they've been punching it down the middle, trying to get 3 lanes working, and that's not a bad idea. It just has not been get back, because as soon as they give it to Gold, it seems like Al Lewis is just in the backfield. Lone Star had a great early setup. It was just an interception off of bounds, which is not really that bad on their end. It's an unlucky circumstance.
Finnick will throw this one out wide. Pass is going to be caught, and pick it up for on the play is the fullback, Cameron Collier.
Yeah, a little bit of a toss out for the fullback. Never a bad idea. Definitely when he can pick up a 4-yard chunk starting out. You know, that's a great setup for any running ground play. A nice pickup of 4 yards on the first down. Let's see how Fort Worth responds.
Finnick dropping back. It throws over the middle of the field. It is somehow hit off the face mask, and he caught it. And turning upfield, it's going to be 3rd down and inches. But what a great drive by the receiver, and that is going to be caught by Dave Axis.
Yeah, Dave Axis, you know, I can't tell if it was great awareness or terrible awareness. Off the face mask into the hands. You know, maybe they didn't expect the ball, but after it hit their head, they got a good knock on the head and realized what the play was.
3rd down and inches. Xander Gold under center. A handoff, Finnick is going to hand this one off, and going up the middle, that's Ike McBride, who's going to pick up the first down. And it's, give credit, Lone Star is the only team right now that is converting 3rd downs and getting the ball deep with some good drives. And it's just that interception. They're looking like they don't want that to be the mark on the team so far.
Yeah, I mean, the 118th pick, Ike McBride, she picked up some great yardage right there, and showing that it doesn't matter how late in the draft you are, you pick up some great yardage early on.
Throwing it out wide, almost intercepted. but instead it's going to be caught by McBride, who's going to be dropped in the backfield. Sicario was in there along with Hugo Reynosa.
You know, sometimes when you see a long stretch checkout that, you know, there's a chance someone was really covering them to get intercepted, but it's a quick checkout like that, almost intercepted. Your line shouldn't let that happen at all.
I give a shout out to the stats crew tonight, Jacob Clear and Mark Lopez. We are coming to you live from Medal of Honor Field in Denton, Texas, and throwing it across the middle. Finnick will find his tight end. This time, Adam Williams makes the grab, and it's going to be 3rd and inches yet again for Lone Star.
Yeah, Adam Williams, a 243-yard tight end, really making up his work this season. Right down the middle, you know, there was no cross, no slant, just a go. Not a far ago, just a closer one, but it works out for them almost. 3rd and inches, see if they can punch it down the middle, see if McBride can just, you know, she just gets on through, or if they try to do a fullback dive too with Collier. He had some early yardage, could definitely make it through.
And McBride up the middle, getting just enough before being wrestled down. Juke and Rukin getting in there, but not before. McBride picks up enough for the first down.
Speaking of Juke and Rukin, you know, Alton Lewis has had all the name today, but Juke and Rukin was the one I was expecting to see. He had 5 total sacks, which is 3rd in the SFL. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get another one today.
From the Fort Worth 11-yard line inside the red zone. Lone Star looking to punch this one in, get some points up on the board. Finnick dropping back. A little duck out wide, and it's going to be incomplete. Looking for Axis. Let him a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're throwing it in the air when they're this close. And after, I mean, it was a rough, you know, not really anyone's fault interception, but it was an interception all the same. Let's keep it on the ground, play it a bit safe. You know, McBride has been doing some great punches down the middle and off to the side. See if they can swoop it around. If not, 7 for 3 may not be the worst decision this early on in the game.
It all. Handoff to McBride. Got some blocks out in front. Dragon defenders. Reynosa was in there on the stop, getting dragged. And pick it up again. 7, McBride.
Hey, doing just what I said, Jeff. Keep it with McBride. She takes it down the middle, picks up 7, and it's working out. They're 3 yards away from the first down, 5 yards away from a touchdown. I'd give it to the halfback again, but we'll see when they got 3 split.
Yeah, she's been the bright spot on the Lone Star team. And there goes the handoff again and into the end zone. Ike McBride getting in there, and the first points on the day go to Lone Star.
What did I say, Jeff? I said keep it on the ground, play it safe. Ike has been doing her work today, and she continued to. That'd be her 2nd rushing touchdown of this season, and what a good one to start it out with, you know, this early in the first quarter. Actually, we've been ticking down pretty quickly, looking over at the clock, 3:44 left in this first quarter.
A 9-play, 38-yard drive. It was helped by the excellent field position on the punt that brought him into Fort Worth territory, and the extra point attempt is through the uprights and good, courtesy of Wally Herman. So we are up now 7-0 here in Denton, Texas.
Yeah, good early drive coming out of Lone Star. You know, they got the new uniform. Maybe it's giving them a bit of a, you know, a stat boost. Not in the game, but it just in this game in life, you know. It's a cool uniform. I really like it, Jeff.
I do as well. Sometimes some uniforms don't clash well, but something about these military uniforms just looks so clean. And the kick is away from Wally Herman. We'll get this one back up underway. And it's going to be returned by Cameron Curtis up to the 23-yard line. So what does Fort Worth, outside of maintaining drives, but what do you want to see from them in order to do that and maybe get that answering touchdown?
They got to protect the pocket, and Xander Gold has to have bit more pocket presence. You know, when you got people bearing down, you got to keep your cool, got to get that ball away. Even if the route isn't fully developed, if you can figure out where it's going to go, throw it. And if they keep it on the ground, you got to make some work right there.
Gold in the empty set shotgun formation takes the snap, throwing it over, deflected, and almost intercepted on the play. Coming over and almost having a chance at that was Doug Day, but great coverage downfield, able to break that one up.
Yeah, that whole route and then some was covered. You know, that whole area was just a mess of green uniform, you know, looking like a bunch of drill sergeants.
Gonna be a lot of military puns, I guess, from this game coming up, courtesy of Dan Mitchell. As Xander Gold will start under center on the 2nd down and 10 play from their own 23-yard line. Williams in the backfield. Gold's going to throw it out to the sideline. Pass is going to be caught, and that is going to be it. It's just going to go for a pickup of 4 on the play. as the catch was made by Cade Stevens.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised Cade Stevens went out. I really thought, he only has 60 yards on this season, but I thought he'd have a bit more awareness to, just step back in. Instead, he steps out and forces them at 3 and 6. See if Fort Worth can get their first down.
3rd down and 6. Now up to their 27-yard line. Gold dropping back. Pockets clean. Throwing it downfield. This is going to be caught. And just like that, they get their first down. Boy, oh boy, what a play. Stephen Hacker.
Yeah, the 161-yard on the season wide receiver right there. Just making it up with a big one. If it's going to be your first down of the game, might as well make it a long one. That was a beautiful play and catch. Hacker really just getting in front of it and coming down with the ball in the end. All you can ask out of your wide receiver. And now Fort Worth may have a new breath of life in him.
Kingseed looked like he had the attempt to go for the pick and missed it. Alexander Gold, pocket collapsing, gets rid of it, and it's going to fall incomplete. The receiver had a chance at that one. That was Kersey, number 48, the backup tight end, Lorenzo Perry.
Yeah, the receiver dropping that like a flubbed grenade. Never what you want to see. It's going to blow up in your hands. They're going to be coming out all day now that you mentioned it. I'm going to have too much fun.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And it's going to be 2nd down and 10 playing hot potato. I'll use my own pun to say he was playing hot potato with that football. Handoff to Jason Williams trying to get going up the right side, but that is going to be blown up. And coming up with the tackle, Brian Craven getting his hands around Jason Williams.
He's just coming in line, getting sunk like a ship right there as he comes around. Only pickup of 1. Let's see how long we can keep this going, Jeff. Should be an interesting one. We're only in the first quarter.
4 down linemen for Lone Star on this 3rd down and 9 play from Lone Star's 46-yard line. Alexander Gold throwing it over the middle. Oh, and it's going to be dropped. He had the receiver, Cameron Curtis, and it falls incomplete. That would have been a huge play again for Fort Worth, but it falls incomplete.
Jeff, I thought it was an artillery shell. Turned out to be a dud. No explosion there, no catch. They got to punt it away.
Oh, I can only imagine what this chat is going like. Oh my God, I'm trying to look at some comments to see what people are saying. I don't see really anything right now, and another punt getting to the game. That's Ray Inhorn with another punt. And again, another drive for Fort Worth. This time they get the 1st down, then they get inside Lone Star territory, but then they get to the 46-yard line, and then the play just stops.
Just some unfortunate, drops right there. Some hard catches. Stephen Hacker catching a great one, but everyone else just kind of dropping them. Now what you want to see, definitely where they could have moved forward a lot more, but this is the first time Lone Stars really had to step back in their own side of the field this entire game.
Fort Worth looked like they're bringing the house, and they did not get out of it, so they did indeed blitz on that play. But more importantly, Ike McBride picks up 7 yards on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 3.
Yeah, I definitely think the rook, Ike McBride, is going to be someone to watch out on the offensive Lone Star today. Fort Worth's defense may have to, just bear down on her and arm for bear, or else she's going to break on through this entire game.
Linebackers shifting for the Fort Worth Toros on this 2nd down and 3 play. And it's going to be thrown out wide, and another incomplete pass. Liam Hammer, this one hit off his hands and falls to the turf.
We've seen, 4 dropped balls in the last maybe 2 minutes. I think someone struck a curse out, but I didn't say anything. Did you say something, Jeff?
I didn't say anything. I did not say a dang thing. Maybe. It could be the puns, but with 1:32 left to go, I mean, these receivers, they know what they need to do. So hopefully they get a talking to on the sidelines next time, or at least get some stick 'em on their hands as well. That would help, as the linebacker shifting again for Fort Worth, and a handoff to the fullback and getting dropped in the backfield. E.K. Vinson and Brian Craven were there to make the stop.
Yeah, E.K. Vinson, 23 total tackles. He's coming over from Seattle. He's a very veteran linebacker, and you don't want to be messing with him. So for the fullback to get a full face of E.K. Vinson, it's a bad time.
Collier getting dropped in the backfield, and this will be the first punt for the Lone Star Glory, and this one's going to be kicked away. It's going to be fielded, trying to get outside. That's going to be Cam Curtis. Getting close to midfield there, and they'll get the ball at the Fort Worth 43-yard line.
Yeah, it's a good starting field position, to say the least. Let's see if they can really, capitalize on it. They have some routes going. They have some openings in the Lone Star defense. They just got to keep their hands on the ball, and I think they could really move downfield quickly.
Xander Gold looking to get something going, get something started for the offense. 7-0 here early. 56 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Another bobbled pass, and that one almost fell into the arms of the defender right there. Boy, oh boy. I mean, that was Brett Sablitsky, the strong safety, number 59.
Well, everyone, welcome to the HPSFL, the Hot Potato Simulation Football League. Please pay for your ticket, as I didn't know we were playing hacky sack either today. We got some special games out here for everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying it.
Handoff up the middle to Jason Williams, and he's going to be wrestled down on the play. And so Lincoln Kingseed was in there on the tackle. But again, it's going to be 3rd down and 4, and Fort Worth desperately needs to get this first down to keep this drive going.
With the current trend, I'd say keep it on the ground. It's the only advice I have, really, because I'm afraid to throw the ball at all if I was them.
23 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Williams getting the carry, breaking out of a tackle, and then that power getting him the first down. As again, Brian Craven in on the tackle, but again, if it just seems like if the receivers are going to have a case of the dropsies, then you got to go back to Jason Williams, and he's been doing it for a long time, so he knows what he's doing when he runs the rock.
Williams pushing through like a tank right there. I thought he was done for sure. I thought they'd be inches away, but he gave that last bit of effort and fired on all cylinders.
And we've come to the end of the first quarter. Lone Star on top, 7-0. That score came on their second possession, and it stood through the first quarter. We'll be back with the second quarter right after this. You're watching the SFL on YouTube. Jeff Melanishin, Dan Mitchell coming to you live from Medal of Honor Field in Denton, Texas. Fort Worth and another case of the drops there, as Xander Gold just cannot buy a catch right now from these receivers.
I'm out of hot potato jokes. I'm out of slippery slope. I don't even know. Let's get the butter off the field, please. Can we get some syrup, some stickum, some anything? I think both teams really need it right now, and we'll just keep it on the ground. This is an interesting thing.
2nd down and 10. Xander Gold under center, as they are inside Lone Star territory again for the second time, and a handoff to Williams, and he's going to fumble it, and it is going to be recovered by Lone Star. What a play. And coming up with the fumble recovery, Freddie Trammell, Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, no, just breaking through once again. Once he got to that line of scrimmage, that was a beautiful forced fumble. At least from where I saw it, really looked like a missile punching straight through his arms, knocking the ball to the ground, and then recovering it after it happens is just overall great awareness right there by Lone Star.
Ooh, Freddie Trammell was the one that got his hands in there and knocked that away from Jason Williams. And Ace Finnick getting the ball at his own 46-yard line, 4 yards away from midfield. Finnick's going to throw this one to the sidelines. Pass is caught and turning upfield. Powerful stiff arm. Liam Hammer with the reception and a huge rack after it.
Yeah, you saw Fort Worth really stacking the line there, trying to break through. I think they're trying to just put good pressure on Finnick. The problem is if you don't get that pressure on there, the receivers just have all the time in the world to really mess out. Definitely with that corner round just being wide open, no man coverage on him. If he could have turned up a bit more, he probably could have picked up another 8 to 10 yards, and that would have been rough if you're Fort Worth.
Lone Star has the longest play for drives-wise with 9, and that came on their rushing touchdown on their second drive of the game. And a handoff to McBride going outside. She saw the hole was not in the middle, and she decided to bounce it outside. Great job by her, and she picks up enough for the first down, all the way down to the 27-yard line.
Yeah, that right there was just a great blocking right there for Ike McBride. She could really stretch all the way around without any real trouble. 36 yards for this game already. We're in the second quarter, but with how this game's going, 36 yards for a single player is a lot.
Delaney Nash with the tackle as Ike McBride showing some definite strength in this game. Lone Star is already up 7-0, looking to tack on some more points here. And another one up the middle goes McBride. And she's going to pick up a gain of 3 on the play as E.K. Vincent again was in on the tackle.
Yeah, I'd not recommend right now for Lone Star to go anywhere near that like A-B hole to punch through. Right now, Fort Worth is covering that center pretty hard. Stretch plays, I think, will definitely be their friend.
Second down and 7 upcoming for Ace Finnick. Gonna hand it off again. Trying to go up the middle is McBride, but this time going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. E.K. Vincent yet again with another tackle on the night.
Jeff, I think they just can't hear me. What did I just say? You can't go up the middle right now on this Fort Worth defense. That time just a 4-3 setup. It was completely covered. There was no getting through that.
From the Fort Worth 23-yard line, they were able to get somebody to jump. Do they have a free play? Oh, what a throw, Finnick! What a play! And it's going to be caught and into the end zone. We saw him bobble it, and it was intercepted. This time he holds onto it, gets into the end zone. Adam Williams. And the flag will be, or the penalty will be declined as they were able to get Joey Schwint to jump off sides in a free play. Ace Finnick takes advantage of that and finds Adam Williams and just waltzes right into the end zone. And that is Adam Williams' 3rd touchdown on the season.
I mean, that's the hidden demon of going, just offside. You think it's just a small penalty, no big deal, but it really just gives the offense, you see your halfback all the way deep in the end zone. Why not? It's free.
5-play, 53-yard drive for Lone Star. So they're 2 scoring plays of 9 and 5, and it's going to be blocked. Or actually, they're going to sack the holder. What a play from Fort Worth, not giving up on that one, and that it's now 13-0. So Fort Worth is still in this, down 2 scores, but even if they get the extra points, they'd be up 1.
Sometimes with extra points, I start looking at my stat sheet, getting ready for the next drive, next comment. That time I look down, I just see the punter on the ground with the ball not through. Oh, okay. Always an interesting time when something like that happens. 13-0 score. We have an interesting score as we see Fort Worth pick up the kick.
So Adam Williams scores the touchdown for Lone Star, and then it's Adam Williams, the defensive tackle for Fort Worth, who gets the tackle on the holder. So Adam Williams is just all over the place, apparently, and making plays for any team.
Wild game right now, Jeff. I don't think I've seen so many drops. We have interception, a fumble, multiple sacks, a sacking the punt or the kicker on an extra point. What is not in this game so far?
Still waiting for that onside kick recovery. And Jason Williams breaking out and the spin move. And gets tackled, but not before he gets the ball out all the way to the 41-yard line. Freddie Trammell having to come up and make a touchdown-saving tackle.
I mean, Williams, the 340-yard halfback this season so far, really just breaking out that one. Beautiful run, individual effort. Some great early blocks, so you got to give it up to the team. But later on, that was all Williams breaking through. I honestly thought he had that last defender, and I thought he was going to break away again to the end zone. But last defender, great job by them by holding on.
13-0 Lone Star on top of Fort Worth, but it looks like Fort Worth has the offense going here. Alexander Gold, pocket collapsing, throwing it out, but it's going to be batted away and incomplete as 2 defensive backs for Lone Star were in the vicinity as the pass was looking for Cameron Curtis.
Holding. Who?
Gonna be holding.
Again?
Yeah, against the Toros, number 69. That's gonna be the guard, Bodacious Tough, coming up with the penalty, and so Fort Worth wanting to get back into it, but they're called for holding.
Yeah, I didn't even get to see it really, and we're not really seeing a replay. So I didn't see the holding, but when I saw the penalty, honestly, I thought it was on Lone Star, so I thought it was just, free all the day for Fort Worth, but turns out it's even worse.
And Gold will drop it off to Jason Williams, who's going to be wrestled down. Beautiful play. And it's the player injured after it looked like he was holding something. Is Pato, I believe, was the one that got the tackle on Jason Williams.
Yeah, Williams and, they just didn't have that connection right there, Williams and Gold. They kind of like the ball threw the momentum off, and then Williams couldn't run straight, and then by then the defense was just all over him.
2nd and 20. Gold will fire this one out. Pass is going to be caught. Shrugging off a defender. Look at that power. That's Robert Garrett Jr., ladies and gentlemen, and he gets the first down and then some all the way to the Lone Star up close to midfield, past midfield, excuse me.
That's a tight end right there. You're back 20 yards from a first down. Doesn't matter. You pick up that ball and you break through to get that first down. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Beautiful play by Robert Garrett Jr., the tight end.
And now gets into the Lone Star marching downfield. They're inside the Fort Worth 42-yard line. Alexander Gold under center, dropping back 5 steps, running across the middle. Pass is going to be caught on the play, and that is going to be the backup tight end, Perry, with the reception. 2nd down and 4 upcoming.
That looked like he was supposed to be a low pass, but lobbed at the same time right there by Gold. I'm surprised any receiver came up with that ball, but good for them. They're now 2nd and 4 because of that pickup in 6. See if, both of these teams, but mostly Fort Worth, can get out of this weird rut they're in.
4 down lineman for Lone Star on this play. 2nd down and 4, and Williams is going to be hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss on the play, as I believe it was Brian Craven in on the tackle.
Yeah, that play was perfect by the defense. They went at the exact time the ball was spiked, because I thought they almost went offsides at first, but turns out they just perfect timing, collapsed right on the running back.
3rd down and 5. They'll dump it out to Williams coming out of the backfield, and he is going to be 1 yard short of the first down marker. Beautiful tackle on the play by Doug Day.
He spun into the defender. Why did he spin? There was no need to spin. He had the block going for him. I know it's harder to see on the field, but he spun into the defender there. Even if he spun the other way, I think he could have picked up that first down.
Now the more important question is, are they really going to go for it on 4th down and 1?
Do it.
Under 10 seconds left on the play clock. And it looks like they're just going to play the burn the timeout game here in the 2nd quarter, as Fort Worth will call the timeout. I mean, down 13, you're down 2 scores. I would be totally okay with them going for it there.
First half, I definitely think they could have gone for that. Would have been okay. You're a yard short. You just throw Williams up the center. See what happens. Just full dive, or even maybe give it to Comisac to throw off Lone Star's defense. You never know. But instead, they burn the timeout. I mean, still the first half, so there's real no problem burning the timeout right now. But let's see what they do. 5:48 left in the 2nd quarter. They're punting it away. Down 13, odd number, but it is what it is. Definitely, Fort Worth's defense has to step up now. I mean, Lone Star's just had some great burns on them. See if they can really rein it in.
Sicario is going to come out for a long field goal. The kick is away through the Denton, Texas air, and it hits off and it doinks off the upright, and it's going to be no points for Fort Worth here, and it's still Lone Star pitching a shutout, 13-0.
Taku Sicario's first missed field goal this season and his career. Coming in this game, he was 6 for 6. That makes him 6 for 7 now. That was a big doinker right there, and that's just rough to see. And then Lone Star gets the ball.
And Lone Star gets the ball in perfect field position at their own 40. Handoff to McBride, who's going to be hit and dropped in the backfield. Vincent was there first and then wrestled down after the play by David Horrell.
Definitely seems like E.K. Vincent's getting pretty wise to Ike McBride's, what her path is and how she's breaking through the shorter stretch right there. I was saying Fort Worth was stacking the middle on defense, but maybe they're stretching it out a bit, 4-3 setup, see if they can cover more ground.
2nd down and 10 upcoming. Ace Finnick under center. Split back in the backfield. Gonna throw it out to McBride coming out of the backfield, who gets trucked by who else but Vincent yet again. He is just all over McBride here in the later part of the first quarter and now here into the second.
I think someone's got trucked by a Humvee right there because that looked nasty. Armored vehicle all the way, just laid out on the ground.
They're down and 7 from their own 43-yard line. Finnick under center. Gonna be a handoff to McBride going up the middle, but again, it's gonna be E.K. Vincent coming up with the tackle, and he's gonna take all the tackles he wants, and it's gonna be 4th down and 5, and the ball is gonna go back to Fort Worth.
Vincent right now with 7 total tackles this game. He's not happy with this score. You know, the veteran is just like, we could be doing better than this. You know, they 3-and-out Lone Star, which is exactly what Fort Worth needed in the momentum field. Now they have to punt it away. Possibly Fort Worth can get it back and score.
William Zimmerveld on the kick. So let's go back to SFL Studios for a game break.
Thanks, Jeff. If you like defensive line play, St. Louis and Tulsa are having themselves a game. A combined 11 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. The 2 defensive lines are owning, and with 7 minutes to go in the third, it's 3-3. The Gladiators hanging tough on the road. Back to the Crew in Denton.
Wow, 3-3 the score, and this one is defense too. It's 13-0. Throwing it out, and it's going to be intercepted. Going back the other way is Lincoln Kingseed coming up with the interception. Huge play.
I think Gold just saw the wrong uniform. I don't know what Gold just saw. There was not a single receiver right there by Kingseed. He threw it off the receiver. I think he intended, just way overshot right there to 15, and I'm happy that, you know, they had the presence of mind. Cade Stevens coming around to immediately come in for the tackle, because I would have been lost with that ball just going right over his head.
3rd interception on the season for Lincoln Kingseed. Boy, oh boy, what a season he is having since coming over from the minor leagues. Or, no, he was on Vancouver last season, so he coming over from Vancouver, been a huge pickup for Lone Star, and continues a solid season. Now his 3rd interception. Handoff to McBride, and E.K. Vincent is there on the tackle like he's always been, along with Catherine Horrell.
Yeah, I don't think both Cat Horrell or E.K. Vincent are very happy right now. Defense is showing up. Definitely at this end of the second quarter, Vincent and Cat Horrell, you know, they're just roughing up Lone Star.
Finnick, shotgun formation. He's got Collier, McBride next to him. He's going to throw it over the middle of the field. Pass is going to be caught for a 1st down. And what a throw from Ace Finnick. And the pass is going to be caught by Adam Williams.
That was an airstrike right there to the tight end, Adam Williams. Beautiful catch. A little bit of a hop, and then just goes right down, but picks up the 1st down. Perfect play right there by Lone Star, making some more headway. They're now at Fort Worth 21, knocking on the SFL red zone, seeing if they can extend this lead even more.
Up Metal Nation, Dan Mitchell coming to you live from Medal of Honor Field in Denton, Texas. Ace Finnick, pressure, and down he goes. Catherine Horrell with the sack.
Catherine Horrell seeing what E.K. Vincent's been up to, and she said, no, I'm getting back even before Vincent can come down for the tackle. Picking up the sack, throwing them back to 2nd and 16. Right now, I think Lone Star definitely has to stay in the air, as both McBride and, you know, Finnick have to throw that quickly.
Pressure, and Horrell, the rookie, comes up with her 2nd straight sack. Down goes Finnick.
Fort Worth defense is not happy right now. That's all I can say. They are crushing this line. They are coming straight through 3rd and 24. I thought, you know, Lone Star was pushing through, going to pick up this red zone. They're now 3rd and 24. While possible, it is hard.
They're looking to push Finnick and Lone Star out of field goal range. Finnick pump fakes, and down he goes. The 3rd straight sack on the drive. And I want to get the number on that truck. That's number 60. Joey Schwint coming up with his 1st sack of the game. And that is going to take us to the 2-minute warning. Lone Star on top 13-0 against Fort Worth. But Fort Worth is going to get the football when we come back right after this. So on this drive, Catherine Horrell now has 5 sacks on the season, and Joey Schwint got his first sack of his SFL career. So congratulations to the rookie Joey Schwint for that. The punt is away, and this is going to be down at the 3-yard line is where they're going to mark it. So to get a touchdown, Fort Worth is going to have to go 97 yards to do it.
Jeff, I just want to put this in your mind. If those 3 sacks in a row, not back-to-back, back-to-back-to-back didn't happen, Lone Star could have easily gone for a field goal and extended their lead even more. Instead, they have to settle for a punt. I mean, Fort Worth is back in their own zone, but they still have the ball without Lone Star's score going up at all.
Exactly. And a handoff and hit in the backfield. Jason Williams is going to be tackled. And that's Hugo Reynosa, who's going to be the number on that Mack truck, who's going to get a credit for the tackle and a tackle for loss.
Yeah, Reynosa making it real close right there. You know, they're one at their own one, very close to a possible safety.
Another handoff to Williams, and he barely gets out of the end zone, and he is going to be wrestled down by King Seed and by Al Lewis.
I don't even know what to do right now if you're Fort Worth. 3rd and 12. They're barely touching on that safety right now. I mean, I guess technically the safety's better than if Lone Star scored that field goal, so a small win if they do end up with the safety. But their main goal, I think they got to pass it. That's their only option.
Yeah, the way that this drive is going, and you could see this Lone Star defense, they are on their toes, and Williams gets the carry, and he gets out of the end zone. He picks up positive yards before King Seed on the tackle. So 4th down and 7 upcoming, and they're going to have to punt this football away, and Lone Star takes a timeout, and they got 2 left. So with 47 seconds left, they are looking to get some points back on that board.
Yeah, I mean, at least there was no safety. They pushed forward. Maybe they just burned enough clock with the punt where Lone Star can't score again. And if that happens, I mean, that's a small win. You know, make sure Lone Star doesn't score again, go into halftime, come out a better offense, and, you know, score up.
But again, Fort Worth has been bit by just poor drives, and on the return, it is going to be brought to the 36-yard line, courtesy of number 28, Lee Pato.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Fort Worth right now, your defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator have to be just yelling at each other. Your defensive coordinator is doing everything they can for you. And right now, the players on the field, I can't really call it the offensive coordinator's fault because the plays are well designed. The players are just dropping or just doing silly mistakes, spins the wrong way. Just not what you want to see on the field, you know, week 4.
38 seconds left to go in the first half. Finnick dropping back. He's going to truck this one to the sidelines. Pass is going to be caught by Liam Hammer, and he's going to pick up 7 yards on the play.
Yeah, Hammer with 30 yards right now this game. Sweet little corner out to him, picking up 7 yards. Great start. I mean, Lone Star picking up yardage. They're keeping this going. Their engine has not really stopped. It's just stuttered at certain points.
Both quarterbacks have yet to amount 100 passing yards in the game, and we are in the second quarter. Finnick with 85. Alexander Gold with 67. Finnick dropping back. He's going to throw this one underneath. Pass is going to be caught by Collier, but he's going to be hit and dropped. E.K. Vinson is just all over these throws to the outside from the quarterback to the halfback or the fullback.
Who else but E.K. Vinson? This man has been all over this field all day today. It doesn't matter who has the ball. He's coming down with rounds down range, sending those halfback fullbacks down to the ground.
3rd down and 3. Finnick under center. Collier, the fullback, and also Ike McBride in the backfield. Pressure coming off the edge, but it's held and throwing it out to the sidelines. Pass is going to be caught, and that's enough for the first down, and that is going to be caught by Dave Axis.
Yeah, Dave Axis playing that high corner route right there. A little far, but barely stepping out. And then he did step out of bounds, which right now is really working out for Lone Star. 26 seconds until we go into halftime. You know, they're at Fort Worth 20. So they have time, but they got to, you know, either burn the clock smartly or just get one right into the end zone.
Finnick dropping back. Another out route. Pass is going to be caught by Hammer, and he's going to be tackled in bounds on the play by Aiden Davis. And they're going to hurry up to the line. Under 17 seconds left to go in the first half from the 14-yard line. inside the red zone. Finnick throwing it out. Pass going to be caught by Collier trying to get out of the backfield, but Davis is going to come in before E.K. Vincent and get credited with the tackle, and Lone Star will burn their final timeout.
Yeah, I was surprised the play before when they went to hurry up, they didn't burn their timeout. I guess they were waiting for a forced situation. There are 8 seconds left. I want to see, are they going to, all right, kicking units coming out, going straight to the kick. Not a bad idea. I mean, there'll be, what, 5-ish seconds left, and then you got to kick it back. And then basically Fort Worth would have to get a kick return touchdown. That's the only way they could score the first half. That's the left.
Wally Herman, 5 of 5 on the season. Can he make it 6 of 6? Yes, he will. 31 yards out. And just like that, Lone Star increases their lead. It's now 16-0.
Yeah, 16-0. Bit of a interesting score, but you know what? We'll take it. And now, basically Fort Worth, I think, would just be happy. Fair catch it, end this half, go into halftime, shake it off, see what they can do in the second half.
If you're new to the Simulation Football League, Dan and myself are not, you're watching the first controllerless esport where strategy and AI instead of thumbs determines outcomes. Teams submit game plans prior to the simulation, and the results play out live in real time with hundreds of viewers turn players, scouts, coaches, and team owners on the field to create an all-new kind of virtual reality. Visit www.simulationfl.net for more information. And with 1 second left to go, Fort Worth has 1 play left in the first half.
Hail Mary it. I mean, why not? Or they can just be happy with, ending it here. Quick handoff. See what they do.
Xander Gold, with 1 second left, what is he going to try to do? He's going to throw it to Robert Garrett Jr., and that is going to be a pitch and catch up to the 37-yard line. So the last play of the first half will be a completion for Xander Gold to Robert Garrett Jr. to pad the stats here before we come to halftime. And there's the final whistle signaling halftime, and the Glory are on top of the Toros, 16-0, and what could be a very surprising score for some. But Dan, as we come into the halftime studios, just some of your thoughts of what you witnessed in that first half of play.
Both teams they had a real rough start. Our puns were coming out. I think it was just dragging down the gameplay. But after, Lone Star got their engine really started, they got downfield. They had some lucky breaks. They had some good interceptions, forced fumbles, everything kind of going for them. They eventually marched downfield, got their first points, and it worked out for them. They got a 3 points pretty much when they had the free play and throw out. And I got to give it to Lone Star. It's a weird game, Jeff. It's hard to kind of visualize and see it because this game's just been so odd. So many drops, so many, back-to-back sacks, weird plays happening back and forth. It really seems like Lone Star is just, capitalizing when they can and then just pulling back when they're not. Fort Worth, on the other hand, they're capitalizing on defense. You can't say they're not. E.K. Vincent and Catherine Horrell have been monsters this game. And give it to Nacho, with a beautiful interception. Fort Worth's defense has been doing their job. Holding them to 16, not terrible, maybe a little bit more than I was expecting in the first half, but they're holding them for what Lone Star is putting out. But their offense is just really where they need to improve. I mean, maybe they need a Williams breakaway or just throw it to Hacker more. Hacker has been targeted twice. And I mean, he's only caught 1, but it's been rough. But that 1 was 26 yards. He's a well-known receiver, normally up there in the rankings. And I think he could be a lot higher right now in this game if they had a bit more targets.
The thing that's surprising is the 2 straight losses for Lone Star combined. They lost 71-26. Their lone win came against Arizona in week 1. But for Fort Worth, they also have 1 win in the last 3 games. Their last win came in week 2 against Queen City. So the fact that Lone Star is on top 16-0 here and pitching a shutout against Fort Worth, who are the favorites coming into this game by 6.5, is kind of surprising to me. And I mean, just how Fort Worth cannot get anything going on offense, it seems like. And Fort Worth will kick off to Lone Star. And it's going to be brought out to the 27-yard line. So, Dan, what are some keys that you're going to take a look at for the second half?
I mean, Fort Worth defense, they're going to be tired. That's going to be a big issue. You know, they've been on the field a lot, and they've been just, running through, breaking through everything. So you got to make sure that their endurance will keep up and see if they can keep up the gameplay they've been planning. Lone Star just has to, get around that. See if they can play their defense, Fort Worth defense, and make them tire out.
Collier on the carry. So the first play of the second half is a fullback run up the middle. And going to be wrestled down by Delaney Nash.
I mean, maybe that's the Sirens call to see what happens with Fort Worth's defense. We haven't seen the fullback break 5 yards pretty much this entire game, and that time he does it straight up the middle.
Second down and 5. Finnick under center. Collier and McBride in the backfield. It's going to be a handoff to McBride trying to get outside, but it's not going to work because E.K. Vincent is going to come up with another tackle to his credit.
I don't think Vincent's tired. Vincent saw what happened the first play, and he's like, not again. That time, just bringing McBride down immediately. Now 3rd and 5. Let's see if Fort Worth can hold it. I mean, a good 3-and-out hold would be perfect for the Toros.
Job Mission, Dan Mitchell coming to you live from Medal of Honor Field. As joining us on stats is Jacob Clear and Mark Lopez. First down upcoming as the pass is going to be caught by Dave Exis.
Yeah, that time Fennec just kind of floats it over, picks up the first down. The receiver goes down immediately, but they picked up the first down, which means this drive stays alive, which is an interesting turnout. I really thought the Toros were going to step up. Seems like they didn't have good coverage down the middle.
Finnick handed off to McBride. He's going to be hit in the backfield and is going to get a loss of 1 on the play. Number 54, J.L. Browning will get credited with the tackle for loss.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the Toros were starting to stack the box right there. And, I mean, as soon as that happened, it was just goners. And it brought down in the backfield.
Finnick, short drop, going to throw it out. Pass is going to be caught, trying to make a spin move, but it's not going to go anywhere because Aiden Davis is going to get the tackle. And that is going to be Adam Williams with another reception. That's going to be number 5 on the night for him.
The down before this one, they were 3rd and 5 when they got the first down. Now they're 3rd and 6. See if they can get away with that quick slant down the middle, picking up the first down or not, or see if the Toros defense has really stepped up.
Defensive line shifting for Fort Worth. Finnick, short drop, going to throw this one out. Pass is going to fall off the hands of McBride, and luckily it did not fall into the hands of the Fort Worth Toros defender who was ready for it, but it falls incomplete. Fort Worth will get the ball back.
A little bit of a lucky break right there for Fort Worth as Lone Star drops their ball. I definitely think McBride, she could have made that first down if she pushed through. So, lucky break there, but I think Toros will take whatever they can get as Lone Star is punting this ball away.
Get your player locked in and loaded today through our Discord server and the SFL Minor League, SFLM. Now, 12 teams. There's more opportunities than ever for your player you've always wanted to be. Join the Discord community through the website, www.simulationfl.net. The second season of the SFL Minor League starts in October of this year. Contact Deputy Commissioner Andrew Rastelli on Discord for more information. And we get to see what Fort Worth can do since coming out of the locker room. The last couple of drives for him have not been, obviously all their drives have not been good. It's been all punts, interceptions, fumbles, what have you. And Jason Williams going up the middle, that's a good start. Pick up a 7 on the play before Kingseed comes down and gets the tackle.
Well, you weren't calling it good, but that right there looked pretty dang good right there, Jeff. Running straight down the middle and picking up 7 yards. Brought down. See if he can do it again. Maybe they have to keep it on the ground. Williams having a pretty good track record. And we'll see if he can keep that up. Pick up a 3 next. I actually think a short slant pass down the middle or a corner route would be perfect against Lone Star's defense, but we'll see what comes up.
The longest drive for Fort Worth has been 8 plays. As the handoff to Jason Williams, he'll be wrestled down and to be tackle of loss of 1 on the play.
Yeah, there was just a whole gang right there of the Glory bringing down everyone in the backfield. Loss of 1. We got to see. I don't think 3rd and 4. If they trust Williams, I think they can go to him, but I still think that slant down the middle of the corner round's your best pat.
2 of 7 on 3rd down, converting at just 28.6%. That's not going to do it. And this one, it's going to be 3 of 8 as Jason Williams is going to get the reception coming out of the backfield, and it's going to be tackled right there by J.L. Browning.
Hey, what did I say, Jeff? It worked out. Nice thing down the middle, picking up the 1st down there at their own 40 still. They really got to get something moving. They're burning a lot of clock right now. They're tying out their offense, but they're not making much movement.
Doug Day with the tackle on Jason Williams coming out of the backfield. And this time, Williams is going to be hit and dropped by Trammell in the backfield. Loss of 3 on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 13. So, again, 3 yards from the original line of scrimmage here on the 2nd down play.
Yeah, we haven't really heard much of Trammell this game. He only has 2 tackles this game. Overall, though, I mean, he's a 20 total tackle defender. So it's a little bit surprising he was so quiet.
He does have that forced fumble on Williams, and there goes Williams. He will pick up that yards that they lost, and then some. Going to be 3rd down and 2. Now they're inside Fort Worth territory to the 48-yard line.
Yeah, you know, that time afterburners turned on. Williams really broke away, got some great blocks down the middle, great spacing right there. Pretty much got away, I thought, really, till the secondary came on in. But going to, 3rd and 2, much more manageable than I thought they were going to end up. See what they do. 3rd and 2, definitely give it to Williams again. I wouldn't gut punch it down the middle. I'd like to see a stretch play, but we'll see what they do as the Lone Star Glory's defense shifting.
Xander Gold throwing it to the middle of the field. Pass is going to be caught by the tight end, Garrett Jr. And again, that's going to be down to the 40 of the Fort Worth Toros. So 1st down. And just like that, Fort Worth has a drive that is, hopefully they can put this one into points.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they got a bit more momentum going. They're swapping up their plays, swapping up their key players each play, which is nice to see.
1st down and 10. From the 40-yard line of the Fort Worth. Xander Gold taking the snap. Going to throw this one out to the left. Pass is going to be caught. And that's going to be the backup tight end, Perry, with another reception and wrestled down by Doug Day.
Yeah, they got around it, and it kind of worked out. 2nd and 4 now. Toro's got some momentum going. I'm not going to speak my mind too early, but let's see what they can do with it.
Xander Gold under center, dropping back 5 steps. Pocket is collapsing. He throws it. He was looking again for the tight end, and it falls incomplete.
Yeah, that time it was just a mess as the pocket collapsed, and there really wasn't much they could do. So, I mean, it was a good try right there by Gold, and it was a hard position to be put in.
16-0, Lone Star on top of Fort Worth in the battle for I-35. As both teams are roughly 40 miles apart from one another. Xander Gold here looking to put some points and get closer in the miles gap here in terms of score. He fires it out to Robert Garrett Jr. who's going to come down with the reception, and Fort Worth still moving the football down the field, now down to the 27-yard line.
Yeah, and we'll throw it over to our commissioner, Cam over there at SFL headquarters for a game break.
Hand off up the middle to Jason Williams, who's going to be wrestled down. And we will send this one out to Cameron Irvine with a game break.
St. Louis up 10-3 in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and 11 from their own 4. And what do? Hand the ball to Cairo Martinez. A 96-yard touchdown. And St. Louis about to pull an upset. 17-3 up on Tulsa with 4 minutes to go. Back to the crew in Denton.
To Denton, Texas, Medal of Honor Field. Jeff Melanishin, Dan Mitchell, as Fort Worth trying to answer down 16. It's going to be 3rd down and 9 upcoming.
Yeah, that time, Fort Worth's moving, but they ain't moving that quick. Clock's still running, 3:46, no score yet, and they've been on the field for a long time out here, Jeff.
Gold, dropping back 5 steps, going to throw this one to the sideline. Pass going to be caught, turning upfield, getting enough for the 1st down before getting hit. Trammell on the tackle, but not before getting the reception. Number 15, Cade Stevens, and he took a shot.
Stevens barely pulling up. I was surprised. He kind of just like tiptoed his way up there to the first down. Beautiful footwork right there by him, keeping this drive more than alive as they're not Lone Star 17 in the red zone.
I guess you could say Cade Stevens was inbounds on that play, getting the first down. As Gold under center. Drop it back 5 steps. Going to look to Williams coming out of the backfield. Had to turn around to make the grab, but gets out of a tackle. And he's going to take 2 Glory defenders to wrestle him down, courtesy of Craven.
Yeah, I mean, that time he tried to spin again. Kind of worked out. Had some good blockers working out. You know, pick up a 5. It's a good place to be. They're, you know, at minimum, easy field goal range. But right now, they're definitely looking for touchdown points.
From the 12-yard line, Gold, drop it back. Blitz coming. He needs to get rid of it, but he won't because he's going to be sacked at the 18-yard line. The Glory defense coming up big. 3rd down and 11 upcoming.
Yeah, huge hit. Hugo Reynosa coming in and just bringing down the house right there for Xander Gold. They're now backed up 3 and 11 at the 18. It's a tough place to be because they definitely want touchdown points. You know, it's only the 3rd quarter, but 2:25 remaining. They need the points now, and a field goal won't really cut it.
3rd down and 11. Gold taking the shotgun snap. Pocket collapsing. Gets rid of it, and it's going to be incomplete. The duck came out of his hands, and the pressure from the Lone Star Glory defensive line proved costly there. And they're going to, Fort Worth, going to get some points, but they're going to have to settle for a field goal.
I really thought that receiver up top was coming in and grabbing that duck. And if they managed to turn that around, that would have been massive. I really thought they were going to come around for it, but instead they come out with the field goal unit.
Dago Sicario has already doinked one here. It was in the first half. He gets another opportunity. The snap is down. The ball is through the air, and this one is good from 34 yards out. And just like that, Fort Worth, they're on the board 16-3.
Yeah, it's a little rough to be on the board this late in the game. You know, 2 minutes left in the 3rd. At least they have something going. At the very least, maybe this could be a momentum change. You know, their defense has been stepping up very well. See if they can put a good stop to Lone Star's next drive when they get the ball back. And maybe, 3 and out them, they get the ball right back. They could be scoring again before the end of the 3rd quarter.
16-play, 59-yard drive, which resulted in a Taco Sicario field goal make. And he will get the ball kicked, and we will get this game back up underway. And it's going to be returned by Pato to the 26-yard line, and that is where Ace Finnick and company will start their next drive.
Yeah, I want to see what Lone Star comes out with. Their offense was resting for a while. Fort Worth was really taking their time to get to that field goal. So Lone Star's offense may be well rested and see what they come out with. And they got this 4 split.
Finnick under center. Empty set. He'll throw it out wide. Pass is going to be caught by the running back. Running routes is Ike McBride and going to be tackled by Aiden Davis.
Yeah, Aiden Davis, we haven't heard much from him today. You know, that's his first tackle of the day overall, and he did a great job of coming around and just bringing the pain down quickly when they saw the uncovered receiver.
Oh my God.
2nd down and 4. Ace Finnick in the shotgun formation. He's got the fullback Collier and McBride to each side of him, and he's going to throw this one to the sidelines. Pass is going to be caught for a 1st down, and moving the change is Dave Axis.
Yeah, Dave Axis doing a little bit of tiptoe dancing right there on the out-of-bounds line. Barely staying up for the corner route, but just enough for the 1st down.
As Lone Star continues to move on this drive, Fort Worth going to have to come up with some defensive stops here if they want to try to get back into it. Nice one-handed grab by McBride coming out of the backfield, but it's only going to go for 3 yards before being wrestled down.
Yeah, Delaney Nash, the strong safety, coming all the way around to bring that down to McBride with it.
2nd down and 7 upcoming as you take a look at Ace Finnick's numbers on the night. Done really well for the Lone Star Glory in this contest. Gonna hand it off to McBride, going up the middle, but the defense is waiting and ready for that one. As getting credited number 56 with the tackle.
Yeah, I mean, coming right down the middle, Fort Worth has been strong pretty much all day when it comes up against a run down the middle. So trying to, stretch that out doesn't really work. 3rd and 6. See what Lone Star can pull around with it.
Second tackle for David Horrell on the night, and Ike McBride getting loose and going to pick up the first down. That's costly in terms of Fort Worth and not getting the stop there, and wrestled down on the play by number 24. That is going to be Jonathan Taylor Sconsing on the tackle.
Yeah, good tackle by Taylor Sconsing. He was pretty much the last line of defense right there, as the safety normally is. But McBride having a beautiful run. Pretty much that time it did work down the middle, making me eat my own words as she had a great breakaway.
Under 10 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Handoff to Collier. Going to be wrestled down in the backfield by a swarm of Toros led by E.K. Vincent. And we've come to the end of the third quarter. Everybody put your 4s up in chat. Fort Worth still in this 16-3, but Lone Star has the ball and marching downfield. We'll be back with the fourth quarter right after this. Jeff Melanish and Dan Mitchell coming to you live from Denton, Texas, Medal of Honor Field. Joining us on stats tonight, Jacob Clear and Mark Lopez. McBride getting the tackle and McBride getting the carry there and tackled by David Horrell on the play.
Yeah, McBride hitting 54 yards this game. She's been a pretty good force that Lone Star has worked out with, but he hasn't been any huge yardage overall. Whole Lone Star is just making it work where they can put them up by 16 points.
Finnick taking advantage of the neutral zone infraction, and Adam Williams coming up with the big pitch and catch, and that will be down to the 46-yard line.
Yeah, great free play, taking advantage of it right there. Just coming around for a nice pitch and catch straight down the middle, right to Dave Axis in his arms.
And again, that's, I believe, the second time that Finnick has taken advantage of a penalty. Remember, it was the touchdown to Adam Williams back in the first half when he took advantage. And here he finds Adam Williams again. And a handoff to McBride going up the left side. Going to be wrestled down. David Horrell and Sconsing on the tackle.
Yeah, I mean, great pickup of 6 right there by McBride. She doesn't seem to be getting tired, even though we're in the fourth quarter of this game. And it's always a nice thing to see out of your halfbacks. See what else they can do. I mean, Finnick, McBride have had a great job just mixing up their offensive plays, really throwing the Toros off in their defensive game plan.
Second down and 4 upcoming. Finnick under center, handoff to the fullback, Collier, who takes a body, and then is going to be dragging the Toros with him. And I believe that was Aiden Davis that went on a ride.
Yeah, Collier coming into this game with only 61 total yards. Making out of that drive looking like he should get more, as that was just a great individual push right there, putting them at Fort Worth's 14-yard line.
It was Nacho Sicario that got the ride courtesy of the fullback Cam Collier. First down and 10. Finnick dropping back. Clean pocket. Throwing it to the sideline. Pass is going to be caught. Pick of 7 on the play. Dave Axis with another reception.
Yeah, that time, Dave Axis, he's throwing that corner route. It's nice. It's easy to catch. It puts them up to the 7. They're now 2nd and 3. It's a good place to be if you're a Lone Star fan right now, as you're 16-3, have control of the ball, and you're up in a nice enemy territory.
Inside the 10-yard line. Gonna mark it at the 7. Finnick under center. Dropping back 5. Pockets clean, throwing it. Pass is going to be caught somehow, some way. Liam Hammer with his first reception of the second half gets the ball down to the 1. First down, Lone Star.
Yeah, first down at the Toros 1. It basically means they have 3 chances, just free. Just punch it in however you want. Unless, Toros get a nasty turnover right now. They got to do something.
Finnick handed off to McBride up the middle. Second touchdown of the game for and she spikes it in the end zone. That is rushing touchdown number 3 on the season.
Yeah, just making great work right down. Stretches out a bit to about where normally the C hole would be, and just free touchdown, putting Lone Star up to 22-23, pending the extra point. See if they can hit this one, and we'll see what they can do. Toro's got to respond. They got to respond fast. 8:32 left in the game. They're down a hefty amount, 20, pending the extra point.
Worth came with a 16-yard drive for a field goal. Lone Star, with their biggest play drive with 13, goes for 75 yards. Results in a McBride 1-yard touchdown as the extra point attempt is through the uprights and good for Wally Herman. And it's now 23-3.
Yeah, you're at a 20-point deficit right now if you're the Toros, and you have 8:32 left. They got to step up both ways now. Offense has to be high-flying. They can't take all the time in the world like they did last scoring drive. They got to do it quick.
It's one player that you're going to be keeping an eye on to see coming up with some big plays for Fort Worth if they're going to get back into it.
Now they're coming out. I mean, I can see a bunch of people coming out for Fort Worth. I think Stephen Hacker needs to be taken care of. Garrett Jr., Robert Garrett Jr., the tight end, I definitely think would be a good person to watch out for. Williams hasn't been able to pick up much yardage, 51 yards. I mean, if they just shut down Xander Gold, though, they pretty much solve all of their problems.
First down and 10, Xander Gold, empty set, under center, dropping back. Bring this one out to the left side. Pass is going to be caught. And that's going to be Jason Williams. Gain of 3 on the play.
Yeah, he deep drops all the way back for a short corner route. I mean, it's not really wanting to see. Only pick up 3. Only good part is, though, they did stop the clock, saving them more time later on in this game. They're definitely going to need it.
Xander Gold will get his troops to the line. He'll be in the I formation under center. Williams dotting the I. Gonna throw it to Williams coming out of the backfield, and the block is not set up, and down goes Williams. They'll give him, a pickup of 1 on the play. I don't know how, but they'll give him credit for it.
Yeah, that should, I think, is Williams' 4th wrong spin, really, at least in my opinion, that he turns into the defender, not giving himself any help at all. 3rd and 6, Thor's got to make something out of this.
3rd and 6 upcoming for Xander Gold. We'll fire this one underneath. That's not going to do it because he gave his receiver, Stevens, no room to turn upfield. It's going to be 4th down and 2.
Yeah, Stevens just couldn't turn it around. I mean, he really had to turn that upfield. He was only 2 yards away from a first down, keeping this drive around. They got to go for it, Jeff. At least I think they do.
I do as well. And for everybody watching, you can download CrowdPlay, our new partner for 2020, and play the game about the game. Follow the action and answer questions for a chance to win win a share of the $1,000 prize pool. Your next chance to win is Sunday, tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, when the undefeated Louisiana Revolution travel to face the New Mexico City Aztecs. Visit crowdplay.com for more information. Have you tried CrowdPlay yet, Dan?
I have, actually. I didn't get to play it this week, but I played it last week, and it was a real blast. It's just fun. You do it during the game. You just have your phone. You get the notification on your phone whenever the questions come up, and you can win some. You just win some money while also having fun with the SFL. It's a great time.
You can win some cold hard cash, as they call it, as the kids call it these days. I don't know. I have no clue what I'm talking about. As Finnick will throw this one out to Dave Access, gets out of bounds, and that'll be a pickup of 7 on the play. And I just want to touch on something real quick, actually, because Lone Star only has 6 plays that have went for over 10 yards in their 56 plays this game.
Yeah, so 50 of their plays are just grinding out right now, the Toros. Thank you, Mark Lopez, both our head of stats and our current statsman, for this game, for that amazing stat. Lone Star has just been on the grind all day today. Seems like they had a real good setup. The Toros defense is really good, but they're finding the small holes that get through.
Under 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Finnick under center, handoff to McBride, looking to get up the field, and she'll pick up enough for the first down. Oh, they're going to mark her inches short. Oh man, I thought she dragged them across, but what a play That's going to be Hugo Reynosa, or excuse me, that's going to be number 99, Gary Marks with the tackle, his first tackle on the day.
I thought for sure she was at that first down, but I guess the refs saw different.
They're down in inches. Can forward get the stop? They will in the backfield. Catherine Horrell is in the backfield. E.K. Vincent is in there as well, and Musafa Kamau was in there as well.
Yeah, you got a bunch of people. I mean, let's see what Lone Star does. Honestly, if I was Lone Star, they could probably just go for it. Because why not at this point? But they're not. They're going to settle for the punt. I mean, it's less than 6 minutes left. 20 points down. 7, 14. Basically 3 touchdowns in 6 minutes to put them ahead. It's going to be rough work right now if you're a Toros fan.
Only in the SFL do you get Dan Mitchell to come up with military puns and trying to do math live on the air, and that is just something magical to watch.
Well, Jeff, let me just tell you this, stereotype of Marines eating crayons is not just for show all the time. Purple grape is my favorite. It's a great flavor overall.
My brother was a Marine. I have to ask him if he ate any crayons. I'll have to see. He's actually coming in town on Monday, so I'll ask him if he's eaten any crayons back in his day. As Xander Gold fires it out to Robert Garrett Jr., who's actually, he's been coming on pretty strong here at the end of the first half and then the second half as well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he gets those, fourth quarter jitters or that fourth quarter boost when, you're at the end of the game, you're down and you gotta step up. Problem is, it's a 5:30 clock running right now, Xander Gold. You need to get up quicker.
Yeah, they need to start moving this football downfield, and they are only going to have one receiver go out in motion because they're going to run a play with Williams up the middle, and that's not going to work, as Trammell will come in and make the tackle, who's been just all over the place.
Yeah, no, Trammell has been really stepping up. He wasn't huge in, the first half, though this second half, he's definitely stepping up more and really just bringing it in. See, Toros can do anything. They got a long pass. Just tight end fly with Garrett Jr., I think.
They got the job, but they're not going to take advantage of it. Gold will throw it on an out route. The pass will be caught by Cade Stevens. They'll probably just end up accepting the penalty.
Yeah, I mean, when you see that, I know it's a split-second decision, but I think you just got to look downfield, see who is there, and just bomb it. You got a free play. If you're down by 20, you might as well take it.
L. Lewis getting a little happy feet down there. Coming over from Denver, the veteran getting called for the encroachment. So 5 yards could be 2nd down and 6 upcoming for Xander Gold and the Toros.
Yeah, right there we see Robert Garrett Jr., the Toros tight end. I definitely think he can make a big difference this game if just some big plays down to him. 4:53 on the clock.
Need to start getting going. Xander Gold fire this over the middle. Pass caught by Garrett Jr. Another grab, and they are inside Lone Star territory down to the 47-yard line, and Gold will hurry it up. 3 receivers, but with the tight end, it'll be 4. Xander Gold, drop it back, throwing it to Williams coming out of the backfield. He will not make a spin move, and he'll get pushed out of bounds, pick up a 6 on the play.
Well, to be fair, I don't think there was really anywhere to spin right there, Jeff. It was either spin out or spin into 2 defenders, my bad. No real options there, though he did stop the clock, which was a smart decision. Now they're 2nd and 4. Definitely need to make another big play.
2nd down and 4. Xander Gold under center. Defensive line for Lone Star. Adjusting on that play. As Xander Gold pocket collapsing, throwing it to the middle of the field. Pass is caught, and they're going to hurry it up. Cade Stevens with the grab, getting the ball down to the 26-yard line. Xander Gold under center. I formation, drops back 5. Pocket collapsing, down he goes, and they're going to hurry this one up. Getting Russell getting the sack. Al Lewis on the play, the defensive tackle. Xander Gold, short drop this time, will fire it. Coming out of the backfield is going to be Chris Komasic, and he gets his first reception. And that's going to be 3rd down and 11. They are not in the right formation. 3rd down and 11. I don't know if they have a play to get it past the 1st down sticks. He gets out of it. He's throwing it, and it's going to be batted away. He had the chance to do it. Oh, my God. Xander Gold looking for Steven Hacker but not getting used more frequently, probably played into that, and that falls incomplete. 4th down and 11.
I really thought he had that for a second, Jeff. You know, all the way back, right on the cusp of the line. I thought Steven Hacker was going to catch it, fall back, pick up the first down, keep this drive going, but apparently not. They're obviously going to go for it, but this is 4th and 11 go. It's not fun.
Oh, it's not. 3:51 left to go. This could just about put the nail in the coffin for Fort Worth in the game tonight. Xander Gold throwing it, and it's going to be almost intercepted. I thought it was going back the other way, as it looked like Brian Craven was going to take that one to the house, but instead, ball's incomplete, and Lone Star will get the ball back. But hey, Dan, I have a question.
Yeah, I hopefully have an answer.
Would you want a Jeff Melanition jersey, and do you know where to go for one?
Well, maybe on the first one. I believe it is Sector 6 apparel, if I do remember correctly, for the second question.
Yes, Sector 6 is the official apparel provider of the Simulation Football League, and replica jerseys are out now. Get your name on the back of your team's or your favorite team's jersey and visit the team stores and libraries for purchase options through sector6apparel.com or through our website, simulationfl.net. Just hit the shop button, and you can get a Dan Daly jersey, or you could get a Jeff Melanition jersey, whatever floats your boat. And so, 2nd down and 8 upcoming.
Yeah, we got to see what they can do. Obviously, right now, Lone Star is just going to burn the clock. Both teams with a full 3 timeouts. I'm expecting Lone Star to just hand it off to McBride, and she can just burn out this game with a few first downs.
Yeah, we haven't had a single turnover in the second half. First half, as there goes Collier breaking out of tackles and getting the first down with 3 minutes left to go. But if we had a stat for the time of possession, good Lord, Lone Star, with their drives that they've done in this second half, they have just taken the will out of Fort Worth each and every play and each drive that they've had the football.
Yeah, I mean, they just grind and grind, keep grinding the gears on Fort Worth. I mean, they've had a few great, turnovers and forces with, those back-to-back sacks, but it's been hard, and Lone Star has just been capitalizing on any mistake they possibly can. Right there, you see Ace Fennick, 89.4, 167 yards with a pass touchdown there. It's some good stance.
1st down and 10. Just letting the play clock drip and the game clock. Hand off to McBride. And that is only going to go for a pickup of 2 on the play before being wrestled down on the play by number 54, J.L. Browning.
Yeah, and it looks like the Toros won't start hitting timeouts until after the 2-minute warning. We'll hit the 2-minute warning. There'll be a stop. 2nd and 8 for Lone Star. Pretty much the end of the game, unless there's any crazy miracles, which do happen in the SFL, but not sure if it happened in this defensive bout that we had today.
20-point lead, Lone Star on top of Fort Worth. We'll be back with the last 2 minutes of the game right after this. You're watching the SFL on YouTube. Coming out of the 2-minute warning, Ace Fennick under center. He's played coming into this game, he had 813 passing yards. He was only converting 62% completions, 3 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But just on the day, 166. He's 22 of 26, so 84.6% completion, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 90 QBR. So just great all around from Ace Fennick, as the backups are now in the game. And another offsides and the handoff to the backup running back, but they'll pick up the free 5 yards that were given to them.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. I think maybe the Toros they know the game's pretty much over and not much they can do, and definitely with something like that, it seems like they're kind of just not giving up, but it's pretty much the last nail was already hit a few minutes ago, and there's not much to do. Lone Star just trying to finish up this game. Hopefully they'll keep it, just keep it on the ground, keep it nice and easy, nothing crazy, and we'll see some padding the stats for the overall offense, but not for the main players for the Lone Star.
Anybody tuning in, you can catch every You can catch the SFL live every July to October and every January to April over the weekends and Monday nights on 11 Sports for the fans and the SFL's YouTube and Twitch channels. Follow the Simulation Football League on Twitter. That's at Simulationfl on the Twitter sphere to always get the most up-to-date broadcast dates, times, and matchups so you don't miss a moment of the action and you don't miss a Dan Mitchell and a Jeff Melanishin broadcast.
I like that last bit right there, Jeff. Don't miss us.
No, exactly. You can miss everybody else. Just always tune into us because we will grace your ears and your eyes with just sounds of loveliness.
I think you can subtract the eyes part. I don't know about yourself. I know about myself. You don't want to see out.
As Fort Worth will get the football here 23-3. But Dan, with the last minute and 44 left to go, what we're just like, I know this, it just seemed like Fort Worth should have maybe had a better game plan when they came in, but it seemed like since the beginning, throwing that first turnover, Xander Gold, when they were marching down the field, kind of just spiraled this offense out of control.
Yeah, there was just Fort Worth had some good moments. They had one, decent drive that ended with their field goal. And right now, that would have been perfect a while ago, but it happens now as it's up against, backups. It happens, but really Fort Worth just couldn't come out, and they, Lone Star overall seemed like they had a good game plan against what Fort Worth was going on. Xander Gold was pretty much just shut down wherever he tried to go. And if we really talk about the earlier game, the amount of drops, I know both teams kind of had it, but Fort Worth had so many opportunities to both score or even just get downfield that with just silly drops, it was just negated. And that really hurt them. The doink earlier by Taco also put them down. That would have made a game difference right now, but who knows, just a morale difference. And it's just a rough one. Lone Star really capitalized on a bunch of mistakes. They got a free play, which ended up in a score for them, which put this game even harder to get. And overall, Lone Star just capitalizing it. It was a hard-fought game, and I would definitely give it up to the Toros defense because they had some amazing plays, between Catherine Horrell and EK Vincent. They kind of shut down this game. EK Vincent with a combined total tackles of 15 in just this game. Catherine Horrell with 5. She also had 2 tackles for losses. Nacho had an interception, which helps, but then Lincoln Concede also had interception. So 1-1 on the interception field. Overall, I really liked what I saw of the Fort Worth defense. So if they keep that up going into next week, I definitely think that will help them. But their offense just seemed out of funk today, between drops, between just silly mistakes, and just throwing, the formations were sometimes odd where with their setting, with where they were on the field, the whole just setup was kind of off. I like their stack down the middle, but I definitely think they should spread their defense out. If I remember right, they were in a lot of 4-2s, and it kind of worked out, shutting things down the middle. But as soon as a stretch play came out, I think she could kind of just stretch it out. And then, you had people like the tight end, Adam Williams, who kind of just threw the ball and got away with it. So overall, Lone Star grinded. That's what they really did. It definitely seems like they just overall were just putting everything they could into this game. It's a special game for them at their home field. They're really trying to fly it up and put everything they could. And it definitely worked out for them.
Pretty much all it takes sometimes is in the SFL is just going up against a rival and dubbing it up, the Battle of I-35, maybe Lone Star, both teams coming in at 1-2, but Lone Star hasn't won since week 1. So maybe this is all they needed to maybe, after last week, they were like, okay, as the sack on the play of Xander Gold, but maybe that's all it took was just them to get their mindset right for a rival, and they pretty much showed out tonight.
I definitely think this was the perfect game to start a rivalry, though, Jeff, because with Lone Star up 20 points in this just, I don't really call it, it was an interesting but just dirty game at times. I definitely think they want a more clean, fair bout fight next time. I think this could be start of a great rivalry, definitely moving up in the seasons. You got 2 new blood expansion teams coming out, both in Texas. And as Cam Loveling said, I couldn't say, I'm going to say at the end, Tejas. It was an interesting setup, and I definitely think this will throw out for the rest of the game and the rest of the season onto next season. I'm hoping this will light a fire under the Toros, maybe giving them some new ideas, seeing what they can work on as a beautiful
Oh,
catch.
what a pitch and catch. Xander Gold finds Steven Hacker, and he gets into the end zone and puts a little more, adds a little bit closer in margin, but still ultimately going to come up short. But again, back to what you said a couple minutes ago, just where was that in the beginning of the game? But they finally get Hacker going, and he gets into the end zone.
Yeah, I definitely think Hacker and Robert Garrett Jr. Could have been their main threats today. Jason Williams had, 50 yards, which is respectable, but not someone you can, rely on throughout the game. And it just didn't work out. Ending score with some garbage time padding the stats looked like it's going to be 23-10. Respectable score, but if you were watching the entire game, it was a rough game to watch if you're a Taurus fan. Luckily, they don't have to drive very far to get back home, which is always a plus.
Yeah, it is. As for the whole first half, they were getting shut out. It was 16-0 for most of it. They're gonna attempt the onside kick with Sicario here and maybe get something going with 11 seconds left to go. I mean, you never know. They can recover this with 10 seconds left, but they won't. It'll be Lone Star. But yeah, I mean, just a good all-around game from Lone Star. Probably their best single game performance that they put out here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think if this Lone Star shows up again next week and the weeks after, they may be someone you have to watch out. I mean, it's only week 4. With this win, it puts them up 2-2. And I mean, there's plenty of time left in this season for them to really, hike it up, get up some more wins, and possibly make the playoffs. And that's huge, as it's very hard to make the playoffs as an expansion team. The only one I can really think of that made it in their inaugural season was back when Indianapolis was the Red Devil.
And that was a long time ago. And so we get the final whistle. The Glory get the win, 23-10. And Dan, as we come into the post-game show, just some of your thoughts on the first ever meeting between the battle for I-35.
I definitely think this will spark into a beautiful rivalry later on in both this season and seasons down the line. The two Texas teams will have to fight it out. Lone Star showing they have plenty of life left in them for this season to go, and I think with some adjustments later on, they could get a bunch more wins and really have a good fight for the SFL, just playoff position and see what they do. Fort Worth really needs this to light a spark under them and set a new fire ablaze. See if they can get the bull's horns out and really throw out some new stuff next week. Maybe they can just pat it off and get a win next week, and we'll have to see, Jeff. But overall, I think it was a good showing what both teams' capabilities are. And I definitely think you'll have to watch out for Lone Star's defense but also Lone Star's grind and Fort Worth's defense.
All right, so more important question. Who are you thinking is going to be the player of the game for this one?
I think you either throw it up to McBride, she had a great game, or Finnick. Let's see.
It's going to be Ike McBride, and I think she didn't get over the 100 yards that most running backs do, but that 2 touchdowns definitely helped her case for player of the game. There were a lot of you had L. Lewis with 2 sacks and 2 sacks from Hugo Reynosa. So on behalf of my analyst, Dan Mitchell, and doing stats for us tonight was Jacob Clear and Mark Lopez, and Commissioner and Executive Producer Cameron Irvine. My name is Jeff Melanishian. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this presentation of the Simulation Football League. We'll be back tomorrow for more games. We got a huge slate for coming up tomorrow, Sunday. So be there, tune in, join all those games going on. And so we will see you guys next time. So long, everybody.